Hi, welcome to class. My name's Angel, and I'm a yoga instructor based in the Seattle area. I teach in all levels style, so hopefully this class will be accessible for you. Because of that, I will be showing a couple of prop options, and I know that not everyone has these props at home, so you can feel free to get creative. Rather than blocks, you could use any boxes or even a short stool that you have around. If you don't have a bolster, pillows or a folded blanket of some sort could be handy. So if you have any of those props, feel free to gather them and have them close-ish to your mat, and we'll meet in a comfortable seat. So once you get to your seat, it can look a number of ways. So you can sit cross-legged if that's comfortable for you. I'm showing the Sukhasana, the cross-legged seat, on a bolster. This offers a little bit of height that can help your spine be a little more upright rather than rounding forward if you find that sitting on the floor doesn't really offer that same support. So that's one option. The second option is sitting on a block or some sort of other lift. If you don't feel really comfortable in a cross-legged seat, you can sit in this supported hero's pose, Virasana, and you can put your block or whatever you're using between your heels so that you have ample support for your seat. So either of those options are really great. And once you arrive, we'll just start to settle in. You can keep your eyes open for the entire practice. Usually at the beginning of practice, I'll invite you to at least draw your gaze downward toward the ground. And as you arrive at your seat, make sure that you are checking in with yourself. So you can take any micro adjustments already. So rather than being a statue right away, feel free to just move if you need to. And eventually, if it feels okay for you, maybe stillness kind of naturally arrives. You might take in any noises that are in the room around you. Raising your awareness of your environment and really just settling in. And perhaps after a few breaths, your eyes could close. And we'll take a moment to just notice where your spine is in space. Are you leaning forward? Are you leaning back? Maybe you can find length in the spine while also finding that central point where you're neither leaning forward nor back. Let the shoulders soften away from the ears. Hips are heavy. Perhaps you notice if your jaw is clenching at all. You can open and close the mouth a couple of times. Let that go. Let the tongue just rest in the mouth. Maybe the tongue is resting behind that front row of teeth. And we'll just take a few moments to notice the breath. So whether you are new to the practice or you've practiced a lot, I'll be inviting moments of silence throughout practice where we'll have moments to notice where the thoughts go. So if at any point during the practice you feel unsure because there's space between my cues, take that as an opportunity to just observe what your thoughts are doing. Observe what your breath is doing. And if you'd like to, we'll start to watch the inhale and exhale. Perhaps you start to become aware of how your body moves as you breathe, whatever that feels like for you. Maybe noticing as you inhale, the belly softening a little bit outward, and noticing a slight contraction as you exhale. And we'll take a few breaths like this, just watching the inhale and the exhale, raising that awareness of the breath. On your next inhale, bring your hands to heart center. You can take Anjali Mudra, palms pressed together, leaving a little space between the hands. Thumb rests on the sternum. If you'd like, you can also rest your hands on heart center, palms facing down, if that feels better for you. And take a moment to perhaps cultivate gratitude. So gratitude layered on with your awareness of your breath. It can be gratitude for the breath itself, gratitude for your ability to be aware of your body, of your experience. Perhaps if you want to send out your gratitude to a cause or a person, feel free to bring that to mind here. And we'll open practice with 3 clearing breaths together. Take an inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. 2 more times like that. Last time. Allow your lips to press back together. Breath flows in and out of the nostrils. And as you take your next inhale, we'll gently blink the eyes open. Maybe keep your gaze toward the ground for a moment. Hands will come back down to your thighs. And take a few breaths, lifting the gaze, maybe bring the gaze forward. As you inhale, we'll bring hands to the knees. So if you've been sitting in the same cross, we'll uncross the legs, cross the opposite leg in front. If you're sitting on block with knees forward, feel free to stay there. But we'll start to move with the breath. As you inhale, start to use your hands on your knees to traction your chest forward. So arching your back, creating an opening through the front body. Exhale, start to draw your belly button towards spine and round the back, draw chin to chest. And we'll move like this with the breath for a few rounds. So feel free to just explore. You don't have to go to the maximum sensation right away. As we move through different flows in practice, just be aware of how your body feels today. Be aware how it feels to move in each shape. And if you feel like you're pushing yourself too far, maybe notice what it feels like to draw back a little. Give yourself a moment to rest. If you feel at any point like you might want to explore a little more sensation, it's always an option for you to do it safely and in alignment. Let's take 3 more rounds here. Inhaling to draw the heart forward, maybe gaze forward, neck is nice and neutral. Exhale, we'll round the back, chin to chest. Eventually, we'll start to slow that movement and come to a neutral spine in the center. Take an inhale, let's circle the arms out and up. Create some space for your armpits. Exhale, trace your midline, bring hands down to heart center. And 2 more times like that. Moving with your breath, inhale, we'll circle the arms out and up. Exhale, trace the midline, bring hands to heart center and down by the sides. Last time, inhale, reach up. Exhale, trace the midline, bring hands down by the sides. Inhale, circle your arms up. And as you exhale, bring your left hand to your left hand to right knee. Right hand comes behind you. So taking a twist to your right side. Inhale, we'll reach up through center. Arms reach up. Exhale, find a twist over to your left side. So right hand comes to left knee. Left hand plants anywhere behind you. Inhale, reach up through center. So if you are sitting on a block, you might want to come down to a cross-legged seat if that's okay. We'll take 2 more times on each side. The next time you twist over to your right side, inhale, center, exhale, twist to your right, we'll find a pause. Anchor your sit bones down, feel the crown of the head rise, and gaze wherever feels comfortable for your neck. So you don't have to twist in the maximum way with the neck. If that feels like too much, maybe just gaze where it feels neutral. And 3 more breaths here. Keeping your left hand on your right knee, your right hand is behind you. We'll start to sweep that right hand up. Notice how this feels. If it feels okay, we'll start to lean more toward the left side, kind of more at a diagonal, but without getting the shoulders all blocked up toward the ears. Let's soften, maybe palm faces down. Anchor through your right seat. And inhale, reach up and back. So finding that twist, inhale, reach the arms up, and exhale, we'll take that second side. So twist over to your left side. That left hand plants behind, right hand is on your left knee, and throughout the video, I will try my best to mirror you. We'll see how it goes. And let's take a few breaths here. Anchor through your seat, lift through the crown of the head. Soften your elbows, soften your jaw. Again, finding that balance between effort and ease. Now let's take 2 more deep breaths. Breathing all the way down to the bottom of the lungs. Exhaling all the way out. And when you feel ready, left hand will start to lift up and over. So right hand stays planted on the left knee. Again, check in. Are you straining your shoulders? Maybe it feels like enough to just keep that left hand upright. Once you're feeling a little more ready, you can start to maybe lean over toward that right side a little bit. And we'll take a few breaths here. Perhaps you're breathing into your left lung. So inviting space there. And take an inhale. We'll reach up and back. So finding the twist for 1 more breath. Take an inhale, exhale, unwind through center. And take a moment to notice how that practice felt for you. And when you're ready, we'll meet in a tabletop shape, so hands and knees. So move any props out of the way. Come to your hands and knees. And once you come to your hands and knees, make sure your shoulders over wrists, hips are over knees, and where your wrists are, we'll replace your elbows with your wrists. So coming down to this sort of forearm tabletop shape. As you inhale, drag your heart forward and maybe look just between your thumbs. Tailbone starts to point up. So like we did in our seat, arching the back into this cow shape. As you exhale, press your forearms into the ground and start to round the back, drawing chin to chest. Tailbone starts to point down toward your mat. So cat pose. So move like this. If you've done cat and cow before, it probably feels like a smaller range of motion because it is. So feel free to explore here, noticing that you might be feeling more of the movement through the thoracic spine, that upper mid back, that space between the shoulder blades that is generally not super mobile for many folks. And let's take a few breaths here, a few more rounds on your own. And as you inhale, let's press up to the hands. Take your tabletop. Take an inhale. Exhale, sit the hips back toward child's pose. And let your hips sit down. You can walk the arms forward. Maybe knees are walking outward a little bit if you need space for your belly. And you can make a pillow with your hands for your forehead if that is necessary. Maybe you reach arms forward or back. If you are reaching your arms forward, let's draw the shoulders away from the ears. So kind of like you're sucking your shoulder into the socket. And as you inhale, we'll find tabletop. Make sure your knees are under your hips again. Take an inhale, cow pose. Tuck the toes. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Feel free to bend one knee and the other. You can take any intuitive movements here. Pedal out the feet. And your heels don't have to touch the mat. So for some folks who are just starting their yoga practice, that's the goal, but that's not really a good way to, it's not really the most necessary energetic of the pose. So rather than that, roots down through your knuckles. So press into the ground, feel that space in your armpits. Draw your shoulder blades down the back. So activate that space between the shoulder blades, those muscles. And lift your tailbone to the sky. So we're bringing even weight to the feet and the hands. Your knees could be quite bent. So in any pose, you don't have to look exactly how I look. I'll try to describe as best I can the energetics of each pose, but you don't have to look the same way. So I'll try my best also to model for you other ways. Take an inhale, we'll exhale, knees down, tabletop. Start to walk your hands, one hand print forward, and we'll start to extend the hips into this sort of upward facing dog supported shape. Exhale, sit the hips down toward the heels. Start to bend your elbows so that you can come up into that forearm tabletop shape. And we'll start to shift weight into the hands, if that's okay, into that upward facing dog shape. Exhale, sit the hips back toward child's pose. So just taking your time, creating those poses with the breath, using your inhale to find forearms, hands, hips extend, heart forward. Exhale, sit the hips toward the heels. And we'll do this a few times. Exhale, sit the hips back. We'll take one more round. Use your inhale to come up to that forearm tabletop. Back is in cow pose. Cow pose, we'll start to extend the hips, heart forward. Exhale, sit the hips back toward child's pose. Take an inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck the toes. Exhale, lift the hips to downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths here. Noticing any shifts. On your next inhale, we'll start to shift the shoulders forward into plank pose. So you can take plank on or off the knees, so knees can be down or up. If you're taking your knees up, make sure you're pressing actively into the ground. Heels press back, crown of the head points forward. If knees are down, make sure that you still have that activating energy of your core. And if you need to, you can be on forearms as well. So forearm plank is an option for anyone with sensitive wrists. So when you're ready, we'll exhale, lower the knees down, all of us. Lower your chest and chin down. Shoulder blades draw together, lower your belly all the way down. So laying on your belly, bring your hands by your ribs. You might have to walk them back one handprint. Take an inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, lower the forehead down. Let's do that 2 more times. So inhaling to this cobra shape, tops of the feet stay grounded. Inhale, draw your shoulder blades together, and then that will lift the heart off of the mat. Then your head will follow. Back of the neck is neutral. Exhale, lower down. 1 more time. Inhale, find that lift. Exhale, lower. Next inhale, find either tabletop or plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the hips. Look toward your hands. Start to bend your knees, and we'll walk forward to fold. In your forward fold, you can have forearms on thighs. Knees can be super bent. You could grab opposite elbows, maybe sway side to side. Whatever you're doing, notice if you're looking kind of forward and there's creases at the back of your neck. Let's start to maybe drop the gaze between your legs, either at your ankles. Shake the head yes and no. If you have opposite elbows, let's release that grip, bend the knees a lot, and we'll roll up 1 vertebra at a time. You can bring your hands to support you on your legs at any point. So rolling up slow, head will come up last, knees are nice and soft, and inhale, finding your mountain pose, Tadasana. So once you arrive, let's start to bring attention to the soles of the feet. Maybe rock forward and back. And same idea here. Are you leaning forward or leaning far back in space? Could you find that central place? And let's take a few breaths here. If you feel like your breath is really up towards the upper parts of your ribs, invite it down towards the belly. And we'll take an inhale, circle your arms out and up. As you exhale, fold forward, reach your arms out and down. You can support yourself in your fold however you need. Inhale, fingertips to shins, lift your spine up halfway. So as you lift your spine up, we're drawing the ribs in, so the core is active. Kind of like we're zipped up or tied up with a corset or something. So core is nice and active. You could even maybe be floating your hands off of your shins. Inhale, exhale, fold. Next, inhale, let's step that right foot back for runner's lunge. So right foot steps back, runner's lunge, drop to that right knee. At this point, you could have blocks if you need, and maybe this is where you stay. If this is feeling kind of like a lot of sensation in the hips already, you can stay right here. If it feels okay for you, you can support yourself on that left knee as you reach both the right and left arms up. So right away, you might notice my hips are over this right knee, and I'm mirroring you again. So hips are over that right knee. If you want to add sensation, you might start to lunge forward a little bit more, creating more distance between your right knee and your left foot. But only if that feels okay. So this is an opportunity to play with sensation. You can always bring hands to heart center also, anytime we're lifting the arms up, if that feels better. But we'll take a few breaths here. You might feel the sense of a pulse as you exhale, maybe experimenting with that edge of sensation. As you exhale, let's bring hands down to the mat to frame that left foot. Tuck the right toes under, lift the right knee. If it feels okay, we'll step back to plank pose your way. That right knee could stay down and you could make your way to plank on the knees. If you're taking plank pose, we'll take a few breaths. Press actively into the mat, heels press back, crown of the head forward. Drag your hands and feet toward one another. Exhale, downward facing dog, lift the hips. Take an inhale, lift that left leg. Exhale, step it forward, runner's lunge. Take an inhale, exhale, right foot steps forward and fold. Press into the feet, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come through heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Next, inhale, that left foot steps back, runner's lunge, drop to the left knee. You're always welcome to have padding or maybe even double up your mat a little bit here if you need that support under the left knee. And hands on blocks if you want. We'll lift all the way up to your version of Anjaneyasana, finding your lunge here. Take a few breaths, an opportunity for you to notice your thoughts, notice how it feels to be in this shape, how it feels to maybe want to move a little bit more. Take an inhale, exhale, hands plant down. Tuck those left toes under, lift the left knee, step back, plank pose your way. Plank pose, downward facing dog. Lift that left leg up, or lift the right leg up, sorry. Exhale, step it forward, runner's lunge. Take an inhale. Exhale, step the left foot forward and fold. Press into your feet, reach the arms up, and exhale, bring hands to heart center. Take a moment here. Breathe your heart into your thumbs. Take an inhale. As you exhale, we'll start to sit the hips back to chair pose. So I'm showing it with a block in between the thighs. If you have a block, try it with the block. So take an inhale, exhale, hips sit back, squeeze your thighs together if you're using a block, squeeze an invisible block if you don't have one, and feet are hip distance or together. So notice what works better for you. Depending on your body, it might feel better to be in one or the other. Few breaths. Make sure your back is neither rounded nor super arched, somewhere neutral in the center. On your next inhale, release that block, reach the arms up, exhale, fold forward. Take an inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine, exhale, fold. Next inhale, left foot steps back. This time, plant your left foot down so that the heel is planted down for warrior one. Your legs will be hip distance apart, or your feet will be hip distance apart. Press into your feet and come up your way. So you can press into that right thigh, reach the arms up and settle in from there. Or you can reach the arms out and up and settle in from there. And you can have as long of a stance as you want. But the intention is that right hip crease draws back, left hip crease draws forward, and I'm not mirroring you on this side, apologies for that. Let's settle in. This is a moment for you to notice the strength in your legs. Maybe feel that appreciation. On your next inhale, let's start to straighten that right leg. Without locking it out, reach the arms up. As you exhale, we'll cactus the arms and bend that right knee. Inhale, straighten the arms, reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge, or bend the right knee. And last time. Inhale, reach up, exhale, cactus the arms. Bring your hands down to frame the right foot. Step back, plank pose. And lower your knees down, chest and chin. On your inhale, we'll find cobra. Inhale, lift the heart, feet stay rooted down. Hands are by the ribs. Gaze down at your mat. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, plank pose your way, honor off the knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here, noticing the heat in the body. On your next inhale, raise that right leg, maybe parallel to the ground. Exhale, step it forward for runner's lunge. Take an inhale, exhale, left foot steps forward and fold. Press into the feet, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, heart into the thumbs. Exhale, sit the hips back for chair pose, Utkatasana. Couple of breaths here, being with the heat that's being generated. Soften the jaw, soften the shoulders. Inhale, reach your arms up, straighten the legs. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, find length in the spine. Exhale, fold. And next, inhale, right foot steps back for warrior one this time. So right foot steps back, right heel is planted down, legs are about, feet are about hip distance apart, and come up your way with either the support on the left hand, on the left thigh with your hands, or reaching up, finding your warrior one. And let's see if we can draw the left hip crease back, right hip crease forward. So hip points are pointing that way to the front of the mat. And rather than ribs drawing forward a bunch, let's activate the core a little bit. Arms can reach up if you'd like. Take an inhale, start to straighten that left knee. Exhale, draw your shoulder blades together, cactus the arms as you bend the knees, warrior one. Inhale, reach the arms up, straighten that left leg. Exhale, cactus. 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms. And as you straighten that left leg, maybe you actively press into the ground like you could reach up for the sky. Exhale, cactus the arms. Bring your hands down to frame that left foot. Step back, plank pose. Drop to the knees, chest and chin. Inhale, baby cobra. Gaze down. Exhale, lower the forehead down. Inhale, plank pose your way. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths. How does your downward facing dog feel at this point in your practice? Perhaps just notice that. Inhale, left leg lifts for a 3-legged dog. Left leg can be more parallel to the ground or up. Exhale, step it forward for runner's lunge. Stay for your inhale, find length in the spine, space around the neck. Exhale, step forward and fold. Press into the feet, reach the arms up. And exhale, trace the midline, hands come down by the sides, Tadasana. So mountain pose for a few breaths. As you feel ready, we'll all meet in a seat. So take a seat on your mat. Make sure that you have your blocks handy if you have those. If you don't have blocks, that's okay, but props by the mat, always a good practice. As you take an inhale, we'll reach forward. As you exhale, start to slowly lower down. And once you arrive here, we'll draw knees to chest, take a rock from side to side. Take a few moments to just notice how you feel. Knees are hugged to chest. Start to drop that left foot down and cross your right ankle on top of the left knee. So maybe this is already a lot of sensation. Flex that right foot, press the right thigh away. Shoulders, hips are anchored down. From here, you could add a lift under the left foot. And maybe this is where you stay. Arms are relaxed at your sides. Or we'll start to draw the left knee towards you. So draw that left leg towards you. Right knee is energetically pressing towards what was the front of your mat. So pressing away from your face. If you are taking this option, notice if your shoulders and your neck are really tense, just so that you can grab your leg. Can you invite your shoulders to be really heavy? Head is heavy on the mat. And you can also be using a strap around the back of your thigh if the hands behind there just aren't super grippy. We'll take 3 breaths. Feel free to rock from side to side. Eventually, let's lower that left foot down, move any props out of the way. Uncross the right foot, widen your feet out about mat width apart, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. So dropping your knees over to the right, dropping your knees over toward the left. Take a few moments to just take this movement with the breath. If you'd like to add in turning the head the opposite way, so next time knees come to the right, maybe look left. Inhale, center, exhale, knees to the left, look right. Only if that feels okay for you. And the next time knees come through center, we'll hug knees to chest again. So knees to chest, start to lower that right foot and cross the left ankle on top of the right knee. Press the left thigh away. You can bring that block under the right foot or start to draw the right thigh towards you. Bring your hands behind that right thigh. Sway from side to side if you'd like. Take any variation that is the most easeful for you at this moment. Take 2 more breaths, wherever you're at. And exhale, lower that right foot down, remove those props, uncross the legs, widen your feet out, hip distance, and we'll take the windshield wiper of the legs from side to side again. Eventually, let's draw knees through center. Take an inhale here. Open your arms out to the sides. So arms are out at a T if that's available. If space is an issue, you could bend your elbows, cactus your arms. Inhale, knees through center. Exhale, knees toward the right side. Inhale through center before you go all the way. Exhale, knees toward the left side. Inhale, center. So we'll do this a few times. I'll show you here. Inhale, center. Exhale, knees over to the right. And they kind of stop at 45 degrees. My intention here is for your core to get somewhat active. Inhale, knees through center. Exhale, knees over to the right side. So just drawing the knees from side to side with your breath, with control. Exhale, knees over to the left side. Inhale, center. Exhale, knees over toward the right. And let's do that one more time. Toward the left. The next time knees start to draw over to the right, we'll let them fall all the way to the right side. And some folks find that that's a little uncomfortable just doing that right away. So maybe you shift the hips to the left first, draw knees over to the right, see how that changes the alignment. And you'll notice that my knees are in line with my hips rather than far away. This creates a little bit of tension back here for me. So if you're feeling that in yourself, make sure that your knees are in line with your hips and not farther down. So 3 deep breaths here. When you're ready, we'll inhale, look up to the ceiling, draw knees through center, use a little bit of that core strength. If you shifted your hips over to the left, we'll shift them over to the right side and drop your knees over to the left. Maybe look over to the right. As you find your stillness, invite heaviness to your bones, softness to your muscles. Allow the breath to have a silk-like quality, letting it flow naturally. 3 more deep breaths. If you were looking to the right, bring your gaze back toward the ceiling. Engage your abdominal muscles a little bit to bring your knees back up. Center your hips if they weren't already. Hug knees to chest for a moment, taking Apanasana. If it feels good, you could even lift your head towards your knees, but only if that feels okay. And we'll start to drop the feet back down. Make sure that your heels are right under your knees. Feet are about hip distance apart. Take an inhale, lift the hips up, press into the heels, lift the hips up. Take your bridge pose. Exhale, lower down. So let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, find that lift. Exhale, lower. This next time we find the lift, we'll stay. Add in any props that you like. If you're feeling particularly like you want a more restorative moment, a block under the sacrum can be helpful. If you wanted to create this shape with a little more warmth, you can start to press more actively into your heels. Maybe even imagine dragging your heels toward your shoulder blades. Your glutes should be active but not clenched. So if they're clenched, can you soften them a little bit? So finding that balance there. Hands can be palms facing down. Maybe you're grabbing the edges of your mat. Feeling thighs draw together like we did in chair pose. Let's take 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, slowly lower down. And we'll start to draw knees to chest. Take a rock from side to side. And you can start to widen the legs out if you'd like, taking happy baby. So if it feels okay, we'll start to draw the knees towards the armpits. So knees are out wide. You can grab hold of your shins and see if you can have your heels over your knees here. So rather than it being super wide right away, maybe you have a little more of a kind of concentrated stance. If happy baby is not something that you enjoy, you can start to bring your feet down to the mat, feet together, knees apart, and take Supta Baddha Konasana. So blocks are also useful here underneath the thighs. Eventually, if you're in happy baby, this is where we'll go. So start to set up for your Supta Baddha Konasana. Arms can be down by your sides. If you'd like to, you can start to bring arms up overhead, palms facing towards the ceiling, and create just a gentle kind of round shape with your arms in space. And I'll invite you to stay here for several rounds of breath. We'll take a few moments to appreciate awareness of the breath, stillness and moments of silence. If any muscles around the eyes, around the jaw are working really hard, maybe you can, with your next exhale, release those muscles a little bit. And trace your awareness down to your shoulders and your hips. And same thing there. Any tension that you detect, can you consciously soften there? And know that if it's a challenge for you to create that release, that's totally fine. I am only inviting you to increase your awareness, and perhaps even just bringing your awareness to those places changes something. Let's take 5 more deep breaths. Some folks really appreciate staying in this pose for a long period of time. Feel free to add a few more rounds of breath if you want to do that, if it doesn't feel like it's too much. When you're ready to come out of this pose, bring your hands to the outside of your thighs, draw your legs toward one another. Feel free to take any last poses you might need, maybe hugging knees to chest. If you feel ready for Shavasana, start to lengthen your legs out. Maybe. Another option is if your low back is feeling any tenderness today, it could be helpful to actually bend the knees, keep your feet on the ground, widen feet out, and draw your knees toward one another. Whatever option you're taking, palms are facing up. Maybe you even take a rolled blanket or bolster underneath the knees. A bolster could also be a pillow. I'm taking a few moments to be heavy on the ground. Can your entire back body be heavy? If you are starting to notice thoughts trickling in, perhaps you, rather than pushing them away in hopes of achieving mindfulness, perhaps you just watch them as they stream in and out. Notice how they start and how they fade away. And perhaps you notice spaces between the thoughts. Feel free to stay as you are for as long as you'd like to. Once you feel ready to invite movement back to the body, perhaps you start with small movements. Eventually let those movements start to grow. Maybe you reach up overhead, take a full body stretch, or draw knees to chest, any other shape that would feel helpful to you. Eventually roll onto one side. Maybe you rest there for a few breaths. And when you feel ready, push yourself up to a seat. Allow that gaze to soften. You can look down toward your mat or close the eyes. Take a few moments to just acknowledge any shifts. Acknowledge the quality of your breath. And on your next inhale, bring hands to heart center. Perhaps you cultivate that sense of gratitude in this moment, layered onto your breath, perhaps gratitude for your breath, for the sensations that you are able to feel, the cultivation of your life force and energy in your body. And with that, let's take 3 clearing breaths together. Take an inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. 2 more times. Last time. Allow the lips to press together again. Breath flows in and out of the nostrils. And bow your head to your heart in honor of the practice we've done today. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May our practice bear fruit, and may that fruit benefit all beings everywhere. Thank you for joining me in this first recorded video. I am open to any feedback as always. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for practicing.